What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Grayson here from Profit. It is January 20th, 2026, which means we're doing episode 3 of Cardboard Kingpin, and it was a great month, to say the least, for the portfolio. We'll break down everything, talk about things I purchased, and talk about my strategy moving forward for 2026, because some things have changed, and I just want to explain where I'm going to be putting most of my dollars this year, at least what I believe. So starting off, I do want to give a very quick overview of what this is. I'm calling the series Cardboard Kingpin. It's my journey to having $1 million invested in TCGs. We're going to be looking at the current market value of my collection, what I paid, ROI, and just my general process, right? Everything that I'm buying, everything that I'm selling. And it will be great, I think, to look back on this in a few years to see how far we've come, or if everything crashes and burns, it's probably going to be a good educational experience as well for some of you guys at home. So starting off, previous month, we had about $255,000, $254, whatever you want to call it, in terms of market value. This month, we're up to $332,224.71. That's according to the Shiny app, which I still use that platform to have my collection in. There are a couple things that aren't in there, which we'll get to here in a second, but total paid on everything is $111,381.33. That is an ROI of 198.28% and a month-over-month ROI of 30.56%. So an incredible month for the portfolio. Obviously, a lot of that was on the back of the One Piece investments, but some of the Pokemon stuff did decently as well. Surging Sparks booster boxes were up around 8% over the past 28 days, so not terrible there. Paldean Fates, ETBs, these are up around 12%, definitely contributed a little bit. Prismatic, we're back over $130 in ETB, by the way, guys. I thought these were going to MSRP. I thought we were going to see $60 Prismatic ETBs. So many people were saying that last year, and funny, it didn't happen. Kind of a shocker. Also, SV Base, this is actually a shocker, up around 16% on the month, doing pretty decently, all-time highs on this box as well. I think I only have 2 boxes of SB base at this point. Definitely not something I want a huge position in moving forward, but I have a 0 cost basis on my final 2 boxes, so don't really see a reason to move them right now. Maybe if I can find a better place for the money, I will, but for now I'm holding on to them. Chilling Reign, these were up 24.29%. A lot of the Sword and Shield stuff had a great month. Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Brilliant, whatever else you want to throw in there. Will be interesting to do the update tomorrow. Last week's update, I was kind of surprised at the slowdown in sales volume on some of the boxes. Fusion and Evolving, we're still doing really well, so we'll check on that. Maybe we'll do a live stream tomorrow, a quick one in the morning just to go over that. We'll see. I am going live in the afternoon with Andrew from Gem TCG, so maybe I'll just do a video update. We'll see. But that's basically all I own in Pokemon and what was going on there. I will say, I actually just purchased a case of Destined Rivals booster bundles. These were restocked at Hobbiesville, and I think they're at Walmart too. I know someone in the Discord said that. It was still cheaper for me to buy through Hobbiesville, just because in a lot of provinces, if you don't get charged HST, it's only 5% GST. Hobbiesville, if you're buying, I think between like, what was it, 3 and 12, you got 5% off. So you were basically just paying their online sticker price, which did work out to a couple percentage points cheaper than Walmart. And then also you get 1% back in store credit and 1% back in shop cash if you buy on the app. So it made sense to do it. Those went fast. I think they restocked probably like 350. And then when I checked a couple hours later, they were down to like 30. And I'm pretty sure they're sold out at this point. So Destined Rivals, the restock is definitely here, reprint, whatever you want to call it. And I think I paid, it was close to like $43 USD after the conversion. I did have a little bit of Hobbiesville credit that I used as well. But I didn't include these this month just because I don't have them in my possession yet. And everything that I track, I want to make sure that I actually have it on hand, just because you never know, right? Like if it gets lost, if you have to send it back for whatever reason, maybe it arrived damaged or something. So if those do arrive over the next 30 days, you will see that in the next update. So that's all for Pokemon. Before we talk about One Piece and talk about the things I purchased this month, I did want to jump in here and say, if you guys are enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like on the video. Helps out a ton getting these videos pushed out to more people. Also, if you guys are shopping, eBay TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links there. free and easy to use. All you have to do is click on the link before you do your shopping. I get a small percentage of that sale at no extra cost to you, so it's a free and easy way to support the channel. Also have links to the mentorship program, market spreadsheet consults, all the good stuff if you guys do want to work one-on-one with me this year. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Now, to lead us through the rest of the video, I do just want to touch on some of these One Piece boxes that popped off over the past month. But then after that, I want to talk about another TCG that I just made a very small investment in, nothing major. We will circle back to Pokemon to close out the video because I think the majority of my funds in 2026 are actually going to be going towards Pokemon reprints, restocks, whatever you want to call it. But I did just want to show you guys the big contributors to the growth on the portfolio this month. OPO5 booster boxes up around 34%. That's above the monthly ROI of 30.56. The PRBO2 booster box up around 39%. I still think the set is underrated. Tons of great cards in there. Cracked opening experience, by the way. This really is like the CZ of One Piece, Crown Zenith of One Piece. OPO9, this is up around 53%. OP13, this is up around 63.6%. This was such an obvious buy. Out the gate, this was honestly as close as you're ever going to get to free money in this hobby, just in my opinion. A couple more things here. OP11, which I actually bought a decent amount of over the past 30 days, up 84.51%. And then the final small investment I made, I actually bought a few Union Arena booster boxes. I opened a couple of these Black Clover ones. I had some credit, I think through HPW, so I bought some boxes there, and it's fairly cheap. I just wanted to experience the game and figure out if it was worth investing in. I don't know about Black Clover in terms of investments. I did pick up a couple Demon Slayer. This is the volume 1. This was the 5th set release in Union Arena. These are now up to around $230 on TCG Player, up around 41% on the month. I bought 2 of these, and I think I paid like $83 USD. So the TCG Player graph, in my opinion, fairly skewed, but these are definitely more expensive now than what they were a couple months ago. I don't think it's a great investment, in my opinion. It's one of those things that I think could pay off just because of the scarcity of some of these boxes. Bandai is printing so many sets. And the sad thing about Union Arena, I know that the base rare cards are really boring to look at. It's just screenshots from the animes. But these top-end cards, like the SRs, the 2 stars, and especially the 3 stars, are beautiful cards. Like, absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. They also have serialized cards, and I think some signature ones as well. So the top-end cards are definitely made for collectors. It's just unfortunate that the game, it really doesn't have a ton of support, and even the lower tier stuff is just, I don't know, really sloppy, low quality in my opinion. But breaking down everything I purchased over the past month, OP11, I bought 7 loose boxes for around $1,924 Canadian. By the way, like, we're probably 10 minutes into this video. I forgot to mention, on this list, all prices are in Canadian, but the average buy price I do put in the brackets in USD. So if you guys are watching from the States, pay attention to the number in brackets if you don't want to do the conversion. I also picked up an OP11 booster box case. This went for $3,818 Canadian. And I think I bought pretty much all of this OP11 before it went on this crazy run. I think I was paying close to like $230, $225 USD, something like that for all those boxes if you do the conversion. I can't remember exactly. Maybe it's a little bit higher than this on the loose stuff, but there you go. PRBO 1, I bought a case of the 4 Asia boxes from a guy off Singapore, one of my solid connections there. Shout out Ian. $6,294 Canadian. That was all in after import fees, shipping, and just the base rate that I paid him for the boxes. I think that the 4 Asia stuff and the North American European release, it's only a matter of time before the gap shrinks. There was massive arbitrage there. I think there still is some level of arbitrage. And the only thing that's really holding back the 4 Asia stuff from reaching the level of the North American and European release is education. People don't understand that it's the exact same product. I definitely played a role in that. I mean, out the gate, I thought there actually was differences because somebody told me that. Also, I believe if you go on the One Piece TCG Reddit thread and look up the 4 Asia stuff, there also is some misinformation there that leads back maybe like a year or so. And if people are just searching the 4Asia stuff, and those are the first results that come up, people would probably believe that there is a difference and they wouldn't want to pay as much. And then also, I know there's someone on Instagram who has North American distro. They're claiming that the pull rates between the North American stuff and 4Asia is different. They provide absolutely zero evidence to prove that. So One Piece, it really is kind of like the Wild West still at this point. And I think that's why there's just so much opportunity in some of these sets. But I think it's only a matter of time before education picks up and people understand the products they're buying. And then, of course, the final things I bought, the 2 Demon Slayer boxes, $244 Canadian approximately, and the 2 Black Clover, $15.74 Canadian. I did have some credit I used to put towards that, so that's why it was very, very cheap. I guess to close out the video, we can just look through what I have here. Nothing really changed in the ETB section. I will say though, coming back full circle to Pokemon, my goal this year is to buy a lot of Destined Rivals if I can get it at a good price. I mean, the restock of booster bundles, I know that booster boxes probably going to be better ROI long term, but buying these below market, like 20% below market on TCG Player, it just seemed decent. Maybe not as thin as buying the booster boxes right now for $420, $430. I think those are probably going to run, by the way. If you guys are in the spreadsheet, go look at the numbers. It seems like Destin could make a move to like 450, 460 here fairly quickly. But my goal this year, definitely build a position in Destined. Also Prismatic over the next 12 months. I'm planning to add more, whether it's in booster bundle form, SPCs, if those come to Costco Canada. I think someone posted in the Discord today, the Mega Charizard UPCs were getting stocked at Costco Canada, so I might pick some of those up as well. But whatever product Prismatic, I'm going to be buying more of that. Those are going to be my top 2 priorities in terms of product this year for Pokemon. I'll probably add some OP13 if we get a reprint of the booster boxes, but outside of that, really nothing else that I want to prioritize this year. I think I have my positions in Sword and Shield. I'm happy with my position in something like Surging, Paldean Fates as well. So just a few sets that I'm going to be looking at this year. And then maybe Ascended Heroes, which I haven't talked about yet. Haven't pre-ordered anything either, but I definitely wouldn't mind getting a sealed case of ETBs when those do come out. I will just scroll down a little bit to show you guys the new numbers on the One Piece stuff, because we did buy a little bit more OP11. We're now up to an average of $237.30 Canadian. That's about 171 USD. Still very low entry points. The PRBO one's obviously a lot higher now because I bought the case of the 4Asia stuff. 395 USD. I think that's fine. There's been some sales on TCG Player at 930, 940 USD, something like that. And then of course, carrying on as well, 206, 207 Canadian, that's about 149 USD. Next update, under the alt TCGs, you're going to see a box of Riftbound. I think that's the only other thing that I purchased. I might buy, going back to Union Arena here for a second, I know most people probably have already clicked off. They don't really care about this stuff. I may end up picking up a little bit of, I believe, Sword Art Online, Volume 2 of Demon Slayer, and maybe a little bit of Nikki, but that's like the only things that I think I'm probably going to touch in Union Arena if I do go that route. And it will be a very small position if I end up doing that. Priority, guys, it's still Pokemon. One Piece as well, it's doing great. I'm not really buying anything at this point. I just don't feel like there's a ton of short-term value in some of these sets, especially you look at EBO3 coming out the gate at $500. Made a video about that last night if you guys want to go check that out on the second channel. But that's all I really want to get to. This is probably going to be the last time I do this without the camera, without the new mic. I thought I was going to be set up by today. I've had to switch mics a couple times over the past couple months. I am kind of figuring out that it's also more than likely an OBS issue when I'm recording and then exporting. Something's happening with the audio to make it sound really muddy and fuzzy. So I got to go through a lot of settings, talk with ChatGPT. Once I get everything sorted though, the goal is obviously have higher production value in this stuff. But if you guys have any recommendations on things I can change for next month to make the series more digestible, more enjoyable, let me know in the comment section down below. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.